most people, when they think about health, they're just focused on the body. But we know that working on the mind is even more important, because the mind not only controls our body, but also our destiny in life. And so we really need to work on our belief systems. We need to work on being able to get into the different brain waves, and controlling our emotions and our feelings, and practice visualization and making blueprints, right? So there's many aspects that we can, and skills that we can implement and teach people to really get not just control of their emotions, their feelings, and their minds, but start to get more and more control of their life.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who is out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode.
Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is Dr. Mike Van Thielen, and we're going to be talking about achieving optimal health and beyond in all areas of your life. But first, I'd like to invite you to visit my website, theexplodinghuman.com. Over there, you can listen to episodes, read synopses, see photos of my guests, a little bio on myself. There is also a YouTube channel where you can listen. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. As I said, my guest today is Mike Van Thielen. Mike is originally from Belgium, where he participated in a lot of sports as a kid, and he talks about using competition as a motivator. And Mike is all about reaching optimal health and going beyond that. So we talk about motivation, mentorship, coaching, not just in the physical, but in the mind and in the spirit. And we talk about his 3-step program that mentors and motivates and achieves for people that want to reach their full potential in all areas, including entrepreneurship and personal growth. And then we talk a lot about biohacking and some of the methods that he uses in helping people to achieve their optimal selves. So here he is. This is Mike Van Thielen.
Good morning, Mike. I'm so happy you're doing the show, and I got a lot of questions for you. A lot of questions, because we're going to talk about health, success, motivation, all kinds of stuff.
I'm happy to be your guest.
Yeah, and I wanted to start with one thing. I saw that you're a competitive swimmer, and that you've got some wonderful credits in the world of swimming. Tell me about that first, because I'm fascinated with that. I'd like to swim, but I'm certainly not a competitive guy.
2 stages there. Number one, when I was in elementary school, 8 years old or something in Belgium, where I grew up, I was part of the basketball team at school, the soccer team. I was the fastest runner, but I couldn't win the swimming because one of my best friends, I remember his name, Peter, he was part of the local swim team, so I couldn't win. He was better. So being as competitive as I was, my solution was to also join the swim team. And that's where I found my passion for swimming. So I still joke around today that it's actually my worst sport. So then I swam competitively in Belgium till I was about 23, 24 years old. And then I took a 22-year break and started again swimming competitively age 46. And when I was 49 in 2019, just before COVID, I swam a world record in the 45 plus age group. And then COVID came and competitions got canceled. So I put it back on the back burner. You know, if I don't have that big goal, I'm not too motivated to be in pain every day.
Yeah. I wonder what that is about some people that just love competition. I'm not, I like to win, but I'm not that competitive.
I need to set that goal, because just to go swim to swim or to go workout to workout, I'll make many excuses. But once I set a goal and I share it with people and friends and family, I just need to go whether I want to or not, or otherwise I lose face. So I do that on purpose.
Okay, so it's a motivational tool, really,
Yes,
to
for
get you to do.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I get that. I get that. I've been taking some yoga classes recently in the last
Uh-huh.
few months. I started again after about 30-year break, so I understand taking a long break.
Yes.
And there's stuff I can't do that I used to be able to do when I
Well, we
was.
men at our age, we're not that flexible. So yoga is a tough one for me too. I just had a yoga session like 10 days ago, and it was a challenge. Let's put that nicely there.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, how do these people, there's even like, there's people in there that are overweight, but they're 27, 28, 30, and they can
Yeah.
do stuff even though I'm not overweight, but they are. And I'm like, how do you
Yeah.
do that? You're like 50
Practice.
pounds overweight. Yeah. So I love that you have spent your adult life, in the world of health and motivation. So was there? So you basically have been this guy your whole life. There was no sort of circumstances where you went, I have to overcome something.
Well,
It's just,
I've always been competitive, and but I grew up in a single family home. My mom, worked very hard to provide for me and my brother, so we didn't have much. So in '97, I actually saved $400, put my jeans on, took a backpack, and came to live the American dream. Needless to say, without a mentor or without coaches, there were many disappointments, especially in small business, etc. So I always had to learn a lot of lessons, but my motto quickly became, I never lose, I win or I learn. So usually I just immediately, instead of being disappointed and be down for, the next day, I'm already thinking, okay, well, how could I have prevented this? What did I learn? And that, with that mindset, you're already into your next business venture, right? And so then fast forward a few decades, today I find myself in a position where I'm a mentor and a coach for other people, because I think it's important to have a coach or a mentor to show you the pitfalls, to accelerate the process of achieving your goals and your dreams, whether that's personal, business, or in health. So that's where I am today.
well, I love that you're passing it on to people. It's one of the reasons I do the podcast is I had to search out a lot of the stuff that I talk about on this podcast myself. I didn't, this is pre-internet that I got interested in all these aspects of health, and different situations came up, and so I was, experimenting with a lot of different modalities, I guess would be the word, and now I'm basically saying, here's a clearinghouse for all these things that I've tried and other people have tried. So it's really a great opportunity for people to learn about all kinds of stuff. So
sure, yes,
I understand that. It's kind of like, and you basically just said there's really no such thing as failure. It's either you learn from the thing that didn't supposedly work out, or you don't, and that's your choice.
yes, correct.
Which I and I'm sure in your talks that's what you talk about there.
Well, I just came out with book number 8 called the IZOT method, and IZOT stands for in the zone on demand, because when we talk about in the zone, most people think about athletes, and even if you're not an athlete, most of us have been in the zone before, like you won that competition, or you crushed that sales presentation, or you wrote that piece of music, or you made a piece of art that was amazing. And it was like, you tell people like, I don't know what happened, but I was in the zone and look at what I delivered. But usually that's by chance or accident. So, I'm basically telling people it doesn't have to be by chance or accident. We can be in the zone on demand, and it's a 3-step progress on how we can, bring our A game each and every time and be more productive and be more focused, and so deliver. And so that's what my latest book about, and that's why I try to teach people that we can be a lot more productive, and that we can overcome obstacles and reach our goals and our dreams. And it's just a simple 3-step progress. And if you try to master that, you're going to have a much happier and more productive life.
I've noticed that for me, when I'm trying to accomplish things, the biggest obstacle to me is some kind of fear of something. And it varies depending on what I'm trying to do. But if I really am honest about what is preventing something, I'm scared of something, and
yes, it's the first thing that comes to your mind. It's doubt and fear, because our brain is basically designed to protect ourselves. So when any feeling of fear or worry comes out, our brain's going to tell us don't do it. And that's what we need to overcome. That's why we always talk about the comfort zone. And if you want to grow, you got to get out of the comfort zone. But if you step out of the comfort zone, you enter the fear zone. But if you know you enter the fear zone and you know that the next zone is the learning zone, and after the learning zone comes the growth zone, and you're aware of that process, then obviously you can rationalize that. And so in order to grow, we got to step out of the comfort zone into the fear zone. And then we got to start learning about this new zone and how we can master new skills and learn new things. And then we get into the growth zone, right? So we need to rationalize that fear and kind of fight our brain that is telling us don't do it because I want to be safe.
It's a tough door to walk through, but it's the door to freedom, is walking through that fear. And then when I think about what am I afraid of, it's usually success or failure, one of the two.
Yeah, or the unknown, right?
Yeah, which would be probably what's the scariest thing? I guess I'm going to die.
Yeah, what's the worst case scenario if I step out of my comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I love that. So do you work with mostly athletes these days, or
no, I used to be athletes, but I think the majority of my people, they obviously, based on my credentials, reach out because they need help with their health. I'm now known as a biohacking expert, so I do a lot of keynote speaking at biohacking conferences and congresses. So, when I guide people, I basically have 3 steps. And unfortunately, most people have to start at step 1 because that's like regaining control of your health. So if you have pain or any medical diagnosis or condition, we need to get rid of that. Obviously, we need to get back to quote unquote normal. And we need to regain control of your health. So that would be step number 1. Step number 2 is we need to get to optimal health. So we need to implement lifestyle modifications so you can be strong, fit, and vital and in control of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And then step number 3 is that once we are in optimal health, that would be the ideal foundation to maximize the benefits of what we call biohacking, which is upgrading your body, your mind, and your life, basically objectively, reversing your biological age. And that's what biohacking is about. But that only makes sense when we're in optimal health. So we got to go through these 3 steps, and I guide people and customize their plan based on where they are to get to that stage. And most people, when they think about health, they're just focused on the body. But we know that working on the mind is even more important because the mind not only controls our body, but also our destiny in life. And so we really need to work on our belief systems. We need to work on being able to get into the different brain waves and controlling our emotions and our feelings, and practice visualization and making blueprints, right? So there's many aspects that we can and skills that we can implement and teach people to really get not just control of their emotions, their feelings, and their mind, but start to get more and more control of their life, especially now post-pandemic and people constantly being in this vicious circle day in, day out, not knowing where they're going, getting everything thrown at them. So usually life controls us. And so I teach people to get back in control, not only of their health, but in control of their life. Because control creates clarity, and clarity reduces stress and everything negative emotion coming with it. You mentioned fear, worry, lack of purpose in life, anxiety, depression, PTSD. You can keep on going. All those things, yes, there's drugs, there's therapies, there's supplements for them, but usually they have a root cause, and the root cause is those people don't have a purpose in life. They're just going through the motions. And obviously, if you don't know what's coming tomorrow, if you don't know what's going to be thrown at you tomorrow, and you live in all this uncertainty and putting out fires, of course, you're going to be in fear and worry and uncertain, and you get all these symptoms and conditions, mental conditions. So many times it's, as simple as talking to people about their purpose in life and trying to identify that or confirm their purpose in life. Because once you establish what really your purpose in life is, then things become so much easier, because You have a goal, you know where the finish line is, and every hurdle now becomes or obstacle becomes an opportunity or a stepping stone closer to realizing your dreams and goals. So in my ISOP method, it's the first step is to find or confirm your purpose in life, and then implement strategies to start controlling that life. That's step number one.
I was just thinking about when there's purpose, that when things get thrown at you, you either instantly, intuitively, and intellectually and spiritually know whether to deflect it or take it in.
Yeah.
You don't become a victim of outside circumstances all day long. You can make choices. When you talk about clarity, I think that's really a great idea, and it really comes down to one thing to me. It's taking responsibility for yourself. I had a guy once to say to me not that long ago, so why can't I just live and have everything be okay? And I go, well, because it doesn't work like that. It's, if it did, he goes, I just want to live. And I want to be able to do this and this and everything. But it's all about taking responsibility. You can't hit a target until you draw the target. You have to draw. Yes. You have to figure out where you're headed, or what and you can always change course if it's not working. But
of course, and plus you're evolving, right? But I think, when we're born, first of all, society wants to push in a certain direction, right? They want you to go to school. They want you to go to college. They want you to work for someone till you're 65. And then if you're lucky, they want you to buy an RV and travel the United States. But usually that doesn't happen because we get our first stroke. And then we have our parents. Our parents push a certain directions. If dad's a lawyer, he probably wants you to go to law school. If mom failed med school, she probably wants you to go to med school so she can vicariously live through you, and the list goes on. But nobody wonders what you want in life and what your purpose is. So many times the first thing that I do is stop people and ask them lots of questions or do exercises with them to figure out where their passion is and where the fire in their stomach is. And unfortunately, it's usually nothing to do with their credentials or nothing to do with their current job. And so we figured it out. I have a few exercises that I do with them, or often I simply ask them, do you remember the superpower you wanted when you were a kid? The dreams about who you wanted to be. And at that time when we were a kid, there was no doubt in our mind that we could be that person until somebody, most likely our parents, told us that's impossible. And so then most of us settle for ordinary. So my job is to wake up again and try to find out what opens their eyes and gets them passionate about something. And then if they are doing something else in life, usually the first objection I get is, well, yes, that's probably my purpose in life, but I have to provide for my family. I have to work these 2 jobs. I have to bring the kids to, the soccer games. And in the weekend, I have to do this. And then my wife wants to do this. And so I don't have any time. So I said, well, we need to make a plan, which is step number 2 of the ISOP strategy, is make a plan, make a strategy, right? And so when somebody, gives me that objection, it's simple. Let's free up some valuable time, because there's many things that we do during the day that are totally useless, even if you have 2 jobs, right? An example that I always come up with that usually is true is like, we all have meetings, and meetings are always scheduled for an hour. And I said, who cannot make a decision on a topic in 10 or 15 minutes? Save yourself a lot of time and save the person you have a meeting with a lot of time, and schedule a 15-minute meeting from now on versus our meetings. And so we look at many different things, in people's life where we can free up, for example, an hour a day. And then we'll start working on your purpose in life, whatever you have fire and passion for, an hour a day. And we slowly are going to transition to get back on track, because you lost track of where you're here, or what your superpower should be, and how you can contribute to the world. And so we gotta, gently transition back into what you dream about and what you're passionate about and what your fire is. And so in step number 2, we need to continue to control our life and make a plan and a strategy. And many times a part of the plan, because again, people are afraid of their dreams, right? And they usually don't want to dream too big based on their past experiences. But if you don't dream big enough, then you're not passionate about it. So if the dream's not scary, and if your goals are not scary, they're simply not big enough. It's that simple. So then part of the plan of strategy to me is assembling what I call a team of experts. They don't have to be experts. It could be your sister. It could be an employee. It could be anybody, because people always told me, and people always have been told, oh, you need to work on your weaknesses. And I totally disagree with that. You need to work on your strengths and continue to improve on your strengths, because those are your superpowers. What you need to do is identify people that you need, including people that are strong where you are weak, because by yourself you never will reach your highest potential. So we need to identify the people that we need to accomplish those goals and accomplish those dreams. And when you tell people they need to make a plan, they usually get scared too, because they don't know how to write a business plan. It's not about a business plan. It's not about the details. It's not about the how-tos. It's about the whats. What do you want? And what do we need, etc. And if we put the what's in a business format and assemble a team, then the how-tos will come, will fall into place as we progress, right? And when the fire and the passion is there, when obstacles come, we're not going to throw our arms in the air and say like, oh my God, it's not meant to be, because the fire is there, the passion is there. We wake up, we want to accomplish something. We take a small incremental step towards that big dream. And we just attacking those obstacles. I usually visualize the 110 meters hurdles. Those guys or women, it's the 100 meters hurdles with women, right? They know where the finish line is. And yes, there's 10 hurdles, but they are attacking them. Why? Because they know where they want to be. And so it doesn't become an obstacle. It becomes one step closer to the finish line. And I think when people are really, believing in their goals and dreams, and we have a plan and a strategy to get there, and they have a good mentor or a coach, those obstacles just become opportunities and steps closer to where they want to be.
I really appreciate everything you just said. It was great. I was just recalling one of the things you said about asking people that are experts, or just anybody that knows a little bit more than you do and can be encouraging. I had a belief system, and this is an important thing. This was a false belief system that did not serve me at all, that I had to, quote, do it myself, or it didn't count. And there was something weak about asking for help. There was something less important about not, doing it yourself was more important than asking for help. Yes. All those things were in my way, and I just could not bring myself. I guess it was an ego thing. I don't know where I got this belief system. It was ridiculous.
Well, you're not the only one, right? So
no.
It's ego, but at the same time, it's like, as we get older and grow up, we know, I got this from Stephen Covey. It's still one of the best books I ever read decades ago, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But we're talking about, we go from dependent, a child or a baby, to independent. Yes, we can take care of ourselves. And so if we want to do everything ourselves because we can, yes, it's called independence. But then the next step is interdependent, is synergizing with other people to reach your highest potential. 1 + 1 is 7, right? And that's where the interdependence come in. So at a certain point in our life, just like me and you, we figure out like, hey, yes, I can survive and do everything myself. I don't need anybody. But if I want to go to that next level, I need to start working with other experts and people that have certain talents and strengths that I don't have, so we can get much further.
It's like, who wants to do it by yourself? It's just it's not even fun. Yeah. It's just some weird game you're trying to win, and no one else.
You never learn, if you don't work with other people. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the biohacks, because I find that stuff really fascinating. I've done a lot of episodes on different things, and what are some of the the really important things that you found once somebody reaches a certain level of health that they can do to make it even more. Yeah. I love this.
Biohacking the body is obviously, we got to go through those 3 steps of health. We need to get to optimal health, and then we can actually implement technologies or even compounds, like, most people know compounds as certain supplements that can help us, objectively reverse our biological age. So we have, just to name a few, far infrared sauna, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, vibration therapy, so there's all kinds of gadgets and technologies out there. Cold therapy, just taking your cold bath in the morning, is a huge biohack that helps reset the hypothalamus and make you feel younger and be younger, etc. You mentioned stem cells before we started to record. So again, making sure that we have an optimal quantity and quality of stem cells in our body, either through injections or IVs, or other things such as fasting has been proven to stimulate stem cell production in your body, because stem cells repair and regenerate, but also renew. So anything that we can do, whether it's a technology or a therapy or a compound, a supplement, to reverse our biological age from a physical point of view. And then the third step is, of course, again, our mind or our brain. And that's where we now have lots of technologies, because to be honest, Bob, it was one of the things that I had difficulty with, is like the body, yes, that's where I'm trained. I know what I'm doing as an athlete, but the mind, people say, well, you need to meditate. And every time in the beginning I tried to meditate, it's like, I can't, my thoughts are everywhere. And so when you do something a few times and you're not successful, you give up easily, right? And so, but today there are many technologies that will help you get there much faster, such as, brain tap, certain music or binary beats, visualization techniques, even breathing techniques. If you have the right instructor that teach you properly how to, do breath work, you can get to an altered state of mind and you can access your alpha, beta, delta, theta, or gamma waves. So now with the help of technology, I think it's much easier and faster to actually tap into your different waves and learn visualization and learn manifesting and work on belief systems and those types of things. So those are crucial for success, especially when I work with entrepreneurs also, or top athletes that want to win something. It's like, your belief system needs to be very strong. You have to have your goal, of course. It needs to be clear. But if you 100% believe you're going to reach that goal, the universe has only one option, which is a big win. But if somehow there's doubt in your mind that you're going to win that world championship, or you're going to, crush that presentation in front of 1,000 people in Las Vegas at a conference, or if you're going to crush those sales goals, whatever it may be, if there's any doubt, now suddenly the universe has two options: success and failure. And that's what you were talking about earlier, the fear of failing, right? So it becomes very important that we train the mind to totally, get rid of any doubt, and then use all those techniques to get that big win.
When you were talking about being in the zone, I had this image of Pete Rose, the baseball player. When I used to watch him, he was like a 12-year-old in complete joy playing baseball. He wasn't an adult to me. He was like, obviously he's, an adult who does things, but the way he played, was so exuberant. And you see it with athletes, you certainly see it with musicians all the time, that it seems sometimes it's a missing piece for people, that life is supposed to be fun and joyful. You can do all the things you're talking about, but let's have a good time doing it. That way, to me, like the joy of the doing of the thing is the zone. It's the
journey. Yeah, it's a journey. Yeah. And that's why step one's so important. You don't want to do a job that you don't align with, that you don't get passionate about. And in the morning when you get up, you should say, all right, let's do this. I want to be a step closer. But if that's not you, which is most people, like, oh my God, I don't want to go to work and work for my boss, and I'm going to count down the minutes. We got to make a big change.
I had that feeling about on Sunday nights before school would start on Monday. I'd be like, oh, I got to do this 5 days.
Unfortunately, school is mandatory, so we got to see those as obstacles that we need to take to get where we want. That's the only way to get over that.
And thank God for friends and just being silly in the hallway.
Being social and silly, and do the things you can get away with without getting in too much trouble.
That's the best part about being an adult. You can pick whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. You can just, if you're willing to pay the price, you can do whatever you want. There's the A side, which is the choice, and then the B side is the consequence. Yeah. Which what's the third law? The third law of motion: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I always like that one. So if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? And if they want to get some advice, some coaching, and get your books, all that stuff. I'm sure there's a great website they can go to.
So the website is biohackingunlimited.com.
Okay.
And on that website, there's many things. Number one, on the homepage, you have access to my app. I have an app you can download on the Apple Store too. It's called Biohacking Unlimited, but the QR code is on the homepage. First month's free, and then it's a small fee, but you can cancel anytime. So that's something that you can get a daily feed on information, about biohacking, body, mind, life, whatever it is. So that's a very cheap way to get a lot of information on a daily basis. You can also, we do a regular online training to start mastering and learning the ISOP method, which we talked about today. So it's usually 1 hour per week for 7 weeks, and it's very affordable, just a few $100s. And then there's mentorship programs. There's 3 levels. Check them out on my website. Maybe one of them works really well for you. And currently, I don't know if it's going to last, but I have a 20-minute free Zoom call. You can just click on it. My calendar pops up. You can schedule a 20-minute free Zoom call. It's with me and me only. And, we'll just see what your interests are or where you want to improve, whether it's health or business, and discuss how I can help. And we'll take it from there. So that's a 20-minute free Zoom call. And the last thing that's on the website coming up is we have a VIP retreat in Costa Rica coming up. It's 5 nights, 6 days. And that's where we're going to go through a whole transformational, week where we teach people all this method and experience a lot of these biohacking modalities for the body, the mind, and life. Biohackingunlimited.com. You can find me, reach me, and join me.
It sounds awesome. I'm going to get the app as soon as we finish up here. That's what I'm going to. That's the next thing I'm going to do is download the app. I love these little tricks to make life more positive and simpler in a lot of ways. And I like the way that you're talking about the use of time. I think that's really fantastic. It's there isn't time to do everything, and certainly not to do everything well. So I appreciate that you talk about, limiting certain things or concentrating on other things. And I agree, there's too many meetings.
Yes.
And they're too long.
That's correct. It's a waste of time.
Big waste of time. Well, thanks so much for coming on here. And I hope you folks check out Mike. And I will put a link to his website in the description of the show. And I will send you a copy when I'm done.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Great talk.
Much appreciation for you folks listening to The Exploding Human. Check out the website, theexplodinghuman.com, the YouTube channel, The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. Thanks again to Dr. Mike Van Thielen. Check out his app and his website. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.